The Elva Engineering Company was created by Frank G. Nichols, and the first Elva Courier was built in 1958. It featured a lightweight chassis, and all production Couriers were built with fiberglass bodies. About 50 Mark I Couriers were made. The Mark I was a two-seater sports car with a 1500cc MGA, or a Riley 1.5-liter engine. As a complete car, it was produced for the US and European markets and was available only in kit form in the UK. The engine was positioned well back in the chassis to help with weight distribution, but encroached on the cockpit area somewhat, making it a little cramped. The original Mark I Courier had a two-piece windshield. The Mark II Courier was introduced in 1961 and featured a stylish, single-pane curved windshield. It had a larger 1588cc MGA engine, providing more power, and a new frame design offered more comfort inside the car. Approximately 400 of the Mark I and Mark II were made, but there were problems ahead for Elva. Apparently, the U.S. distributor had financial difficulties, and some Elva Couriers which had already been manufactured and shipped were left unpaid. Sadly, Elva was forced into liquidation, and Trojan Limited bought the rights to the Courier in 1961. With the Trojan takeover, the Mark III was introduced in 1962. In the UK, a complete car cost £965, and the kit version was available for £716. The final version, the Mark IV T-Type, used a Lotus Twin Cam engine, and the body was modified to give more interior space. It could be ordered with fully independent suspension and four-wheel disc brakes. 210 were made. Ken Shepard Customized Sports Cars acquired the manufacturing rights for the Elva Courier from Trojan in 1965, but demand dwindled for the Courier and production ceased in 1968.
Hi, Jim.
Hey, Ron.
Welcome to my shed. Where do I start? Well, I'll start with, I was about 19 years old, out of college, a little bit of cash, wanted to go vintage racing. Wanted to find an inexpensive way to do it while I could still carry on in school. And started to put feelers out, needed something 25 years old. I didn't want to go the typical route of an old MG or an old Triumph TR6 or TR4. So I started putting the words out, I'd like to find something unusual and affordable. And a friend of a friend of a friend said, hey, I know someone's got this Elva Courier sitting in the garage for the last 10 years. Used to be raced out at Westwood, but it's sitting there without an engine and interior. So I went and I had a look at it, and it didn't look like this at all. Now, this one's a little bit of an unusual one. I found out later in joining the Elva registry when they got the books from the former owner of the company, and I found out that this car was an ultralight, and it was ordered specifically for racing on Mossport. That's the right-hand drive here in Canada.
Yeah.
Because of the wanting to be on the inside of the clockwise turning track out at Mossport.
Yeah, and you say it's ultra light. Let's go for how much does this baby weigh?
Well, it's about 1,300 pounds, and as you'll see, there's not a lot of strength. If I pull that hard enough, I can rip that right off. So very thin glass to keep the weight down. I'll just pop the trunk lid. You can see it's just a shell of a coating. They put some metal bars in to give it some reinforcement, but otherwise there's not much to this car. It's to give it shape and to cut through the wind, which it does very, very nicely.
It certainly does, and what a beauty. Now it's 1,300 pounds, and I think that one of the interesting things that I think you pointed this out to me before is if you're racing, you get a little bit sideways, you've got some extra.
Well, yeah, that is what's really quite unusual about this car. It's got a very strong lock to lock. I'll demonstrate that by turning this wheel, and as you'll see,
Have a look down here.
goes out a lot farther than the average car. So I get almost 45 degrees. So when I'm in some oversteer,
Yeah.
I'm able to have quite a bit of oversteer and still keep the car pointed in the direction I need it to go.
Isn't that amazing?
And it is light on the bottom end, the back end, and it does have 170 horse, so it is pretty easy to light up the rear tires and get into an oversteer. So again, not a lot to this hood or anything that's holding it on. The hinges, it's very, very thin and very susceptible to cracks.
Yeah.
So this is a Lotus Twin Cam. It's a tall block. So it's a 1/4 inch taller than the standard crossflow block, and it's 17. Gee, I got to look up the specs here. 1775, I think, or 1725 cc's. Running two twin Webers,
Yep.
40 DCOEs. Pushes a lot of fuel there. It's not for a small little engine, a small little light car. It's not good on fuel economy, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And transmission-wise?
Transmission, there was a real issue with staying with a standard Ford 4-speed gearbox, because when you're driving on a highway, next thing you know, you're 4,000 RPM in fourth gear, and it's whining pretty good. So I did made it to a Ford T9 5-speed.
Okay, got it. The other thing that we're planning to do, because we are doing an Elva show, Elva Courier show, is we've got a live stream planned with some other owners, all from the States. We got a 1500 from California, and we got two guys from back east, and they want to be in this live stream. So I'm hoping that you'll co-host the show with us.
Oh, absolutely. Look forward to it.
I'm looking forward to that too. I'm going to say thanks so much, and we'll see you at 7 Spot.